brothers, welcome back to my channel. Let's get into it. The message is about death. We're on the precipice of a major social transformation. So what happens during a social transformation? One of the things that transformation entails is a lot of death. So there's actually been mass deaths on Earth all over the planet, which some we know about and some we don't. And then each person individually in the collective is gonna be having a lot more deaths around you, which what's happening for you collective, and the reason why I'm bringing this message to you right now is because if you're tuning into this, you're likely a psychic medium. You likely have a certain body type that works in a certain way to allow you to transmute these energies. Because of the standard diet that we typically eat in the United States, and as well as like the pollution and the media manipulation, the indoctrination / education, and so many other factors, we're deliberately cut off from our intuition and our deeper knowing. This is the inner knowing, the deeper knowing that stores age-old mysteries, ancient mysteries. So what happens is that individuals can tap into these mysteries. They can share these mysteries within small groups. On a mass media scale, this information is squashed. So what's happening right now is that a lot of people are being censored, even if they're not even saying anything, but it's literally just the essence that you carry. Super threatening to the status quo. Even something as simple as you posting pictures of your family, your partner, your children, these are high vibrational, loving images that imprint on the viewer, which is causing more love. It's causing the love to spread, and this is a literal algorithm that suppresses that. Everybody who's creating knows that this is an obstacle. It's like when you're doing something good for others that's going to uplift the vibration on planet Earth, there's going to be challenges, there's going to be obstacles, and that's how you know that you're doing something worthwhile. And for the most powerful among us, the main obstacle is yourself. So these entities and organizations know that the best option they have for suppressing you and squashing your expression is to have you do it, to give you doubt and insecurity. And they do this in all these different ways that strike at the core of your identity. So it's up to you to go and reclaim that identity and do whatever you need to do to get it back. And that would entail things that don't seem like the right thing to do, or don't seem like good things to do. They go against what is common knowledge or what people commonly would tell you to do. So it takes a little more to be able to make those actions than just the typical action that is going to be looked at favorably by other people, that you're going to get praised for. This is where you really have to align with the soul and the soul's needs, and it's challenging because of everything that's separated the self from the soul. So right now, a lot of people are going on a soul quest to get the soul back, and then some people are making the decision to leave the soul behind and become an empty vessel and a soulless being. And I urge against that, because there's agreements that you might make in this realm that you might regret once you leave this realm. But it seems like the right thing to do at the time for whatever responsibilities you have. But speaking as a psychic medium that has guided souls through this journey after they cross over, it's not something that these souls want. If they had full information at the time, they wouldn't have done it. If they weren't so impacted by human problems, they wouldn't have done it. If they could have seen clearly through the lens of a celestial being, that is what they become once they're crossed over, they wouldn't have done it. Because once they cross over, they don't have the option to go do anything. They're stuck. They're in limbo, they're in purgatory, and they're stuck, and they wish they hadn't done it. So don't make those same decisions. This is a message straight from a lot of y'all people that were murdered or somehow lost their life in a really painful way after they had already sold their soul. And every so often there's major pardons for these. I'm laughing because it's like, it's so funny because it's like everything that seems final, that seems like it's not gonna, like, there's nothing you can do about it, there's always like, whatever, there's always like something that can be done, like no matter what it is. So what I saw was like a lot of people who were in that purgatory limbo state actually be pardoned, even though they had sold their soul and there was other contracts out on their life. There's different other agreements that goes on in the cosmos, and again, like, most of us don't have access to this information. We can't see that far because we're so pressed down by TV and movies and history and, you know, other people's opinions and memes and freaking celebrity gossip and all this stuff. So we can't always see out to what's happening in the outer realms. These are things that are going on. There's trades that and negotiations that get made that we might not know about. So the best thing is, from the beginning, is to make certain decisions for yourself and what you do with your soul, and to have a certain level of awareness around it. And this is the battlegrounds on earth, is the spiritual battlegrounds. So right now everybody's starting to learn this and see this and go towards the goal of tightening up that spirit plane expansion. Oh my gosh, I can't say what I want to say. But the balance is between the spirit and the material at this time. And a lot of people worry about, like, oh, I'm too spiritual, I can't make it in the material world. But nobody that's in the material world worries that, like, oh, I'm too material, I can't make it in the spiritual world. And that's what they really should be worried about. So a lot of the spiritual people, it's like the reasons why you can't make it in the material world have more to do with owning your spiritual gifts and owning who you are and really being comfortable with that, versus what the material world people have to contend with when they come to the spiritual world, which is not going to be an option for people any much longer than it. Like, it's already like the veil's already pretty thin. So at this point, people don't really have an option to stay in the material world and avoid the spiritual realm. And a lot of the people who are initiated into certain religions, and they're like, oh, well, I'm a Catholic or I'm a Muslim, so that takes care of that. They're working with the oversoul, which will definitely trade their soul in without thinking twice about it. So people, they pledge themselves to these religions and to these entities and these organizations. So when it comes time for that entity or that organization or the person, the deity that's being worshipped by that religion, when they need something, they're going to take one of their followers. So I would be careful about what you decide to be part of. Make sure that you're fully in and you're willing to take that whole accountability and responsibility for being part of that organization. A lot of people that are the most gifted spiritual workers are terrified of it because they're terrified of losing someone they love or someone close to them when that blowback comes back on them. And I have this quote that I posted that said, there's no such thing as safe spiritual work. It's all dangerous. So a lot of people really want that reassurance that, like, oh, this is safe. Cleanse this way and protect this way and cast a circle this way and you're going to be protected and you're going to be safe. And that's not necessarily the case. There's so many things that you could potentially be dealing with that you don't know. Like, everybody has different levels of issues. There's some people that have extremely serious spiritual afflictions, and if you're not aware of what's going on, those afflictions can become your afflictions quickly. Why is it that so many spiritual workers and healers have adverse health outcomes? These are questions that I ask that I don't see a lot of other people like asking them enough, except I don't see people from within the spiritual community asking them enough. I just see people from outside the spiritual community making those critiques, and they're not wrong. Why do people die mysterious deaths? Why do they suffer mysterious illnesses? What is actually going on? But can we find out? Can we talk about it? Can we examine it? These are mysteries. These are deep mysteries. So for me as a teacher, a lot of times there'll be an urge to blame me. There's an urge to project the discomfort of the student onto the teacher, because the student is scared and I can't provide you with that reassurance that's going to make it not scary. It is scary. It's just scary. This world is scary. And what happens is just like when the fall from grace in the Garden of Eden, when Eve bit the apple and she became Sophia and she saw all the mysteries and all the truth. And she couldn't hide her eyes from it anymore. She couldn't be naive. She couldn't be a maiden anymore. She had to get real. She saw that there was real problems and real dangers and real things to protect herself and her loved ones from. And she stopped playing with her purpose, and she stopped expecting somebody to save her. She stopped throwing her life into the wind every chance she got. She stopped putting her life in the hands of people that couldn't take care of it. She started to become very intentional with how she moved. She started to love herself more and give herself more attention, because she started to realize the ways of the world, and they were going to take everything that she had from her, every good thing from inside of her, and leave her with nothing, leave her barren and destitute. So she actually found a way to call back her energy to herself, to stop people from abusing it and misusing it, to contain it within herself, to protect herself adequately and her loved ones, her family, her children adequately from the dangers that lurk. And there was nothing else to do or say after that. She became very quiet. Became very, very quiet. She just didn't have too much to say after that. So that's the message on that note. Where do you go when you get quiet? What do you hear when you get quiet? Are you taking the time to listen to the voice of spirit, the voice of your ancestors, and most importantly, your inner voice? What is it like in your inner landscape? Now, after answering those questions, then make space to feel what is coming in from outside of you, and let the spirits know that you're listening, that you care. The spirits that you specifically want to connect with, your ancestors. Let your ancestors guide you at this time, because there's going to be a lot of noise, a whole lot of noise. And what happens when they know that you're listening is that they'll try to talk to you more. If there's an open channel, then every broadcaster is going to want to play their frequency on it. But you have your own frequency. And the process that you're in right now, the spiritual shedding process, is about purely emitting your own frequency. So that's why it's going to come with potentially emotional outbursts, tears, boundaries, hard conversations, so that your soul knows that your body and your physicality is a safe space for it to dwell within, because you will protect the sovereignty and sanctity of what is there. And knows that it can trust you with you. Do you know you can trust you with you? You got to know you can trust you with you. You have to feel safe with you, and that's what the true safe space is. There's no other safe space for that. On that note, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, say mashallah, and as always, stay tuned.